Thank you so much for taking the time here with us today. I mean, yeah, we really appreciate it. I mean, honestly, 10 years of Jackbox Party Packs, how crazy, right? Well, close to 10 years.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah,
Excited.
so with all that in mind, I mean, how does it feel? You know, you're approaching a decade of this, like, crazy popularity, like, let alone with the pandemic also kind of being a whole thing. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. It's been a really fun journey. In some ways, it feels like we just started doing this, and in some ways, it feels like we've been doing it for a long time. And coming to shows like this at PAX and seeing audiences come and play our games is really fulfilling, and that's a bit of a testament to how long we've been doing it, because we've seen that audience grow and grow over the years.
Right.
But very excited about this year's Party Pack. We've got some really good games in there, and hopefully the fans will love them.
When you were first making that first Party Pack years ago, how much would you say the company has changed, or maybe hasn't changed from then to now?
That's a good Evan question.
Yeah, go to Evan.
Yeah, well, it's changed a ton. When we made the first Party Pack, we were probably a quarter of the size we are now, and figuring things out, making a lot of mistakes, staying up all night on New Year's Eve to try to figure out why the servers were crashing, and we've solved a lot of those problems and improved a lot of our, the way we do things. But the creative process is still the same. It's still like, what can we do that delights people and surprises people? And so that whole process of making games is still just as fun as it always has been.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like to kind of add on to that, the pandemic has really changed what social gaming kind of means. But I'm curious, as the makers of these social games, has it changed the way you think about certain mechanics or certain ideas in a way?
Yeah, we put a lot of thought into how our games can be played in the room together as well as virtually, because that's just the world we're in right now. We're working that way. We're playing our games online together. We're also gathering. And so a lot of our thought is, how can this exist in a way that really brings people together no matter how they're playing?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's part of what makes Jackbox so much fun, right? Is whether you're in the room together like this or online, you can always just kind of put it on, and it's easy. And there's something in every party pack for everyone,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And with that in mind, have you seen, I guess, over the years, any fan favorites you've noticed where people are booting up Party Pack 3 to play this game more often, or that kind of a thing?
Yeah. Quiplash is our most popular game. There's been multiple iterations of it. Party Pack 3 is one of the most popular party packs. It's got just a mix of games, I think. For a long time, people would say, there's so many party packs, which one do I jump into first? And for whatever reason, Party Pack 3 became that de facto standard as a recommendation. But yeah, I mean, there's the nice thing about the way our games work is they're server-based, and so we have an idea of who's playing and what rooms are being created. And there are definitely kind of very popular top 10 games that are always played over the years. So some of them have gotten sequel treatments. If you notice, we usually put one sequel in each party pack. And we try to revisit something that has demand, that maybe hasn't been revisited before, but people still love to play it. This year we're doing TKO 2, so pretty exciting about that one. And we just did a panel yesterday. It seemed to go over really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever feel that pressure of, there are other franchises that are like, oh, this one was the best one, and they can never top it. Do you feel that pressure of maybe 10 will be the one to top it, or 11 will be?
Well, we always strive for that, for sure, right? I mean, creatively, we're always trying to outdo what we did last time. And we never really know. But the nice thing about having a pack of games is there's variety in there. And so some that we think will be hits and people will play maybe don't become that, and some that we don't expect to be suddenly do become that. And it makes it just a nice variety for folks when they boot it up.
And I think whatever we're working on for the current pack, we're putting all of ourselves into it. So it's we have a deep appreciation and love for everything that's come before, and we're still playing all of those. But every new pack that comes out, we are actively putting all of ourselves. Everybody in the company is involved in playtesting, creating. So I think that pressure or desire to do better is evident in the moment when we're creating things. It's this is our current baby. We want that baby to fly. That's a flying baby. Yeah.
I can see why you're the team that makes Quiplash. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I don't think it, like other franchises, it ever really feels like we're trying to top ourselves, because Party Pack 10 isn't taking everything from Party Pack 9 and trying to improve on it. We're making new games each time for the most part, and I think for some of the sequel games we feel that way, but for the packs itself, it always feels like something new, because most of it is new game ideas. And so it feels like there's plenty of room to explore, and it's not competitive with ourselves, which is kind of nice.
But one game has to win.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not competitive, but also...
Very cutthroat teams internally. Yeah.
It's like soft competitive. You know?
Yeah. We have fun.
Yeah, it's the thumbs up trophy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
So I'm sure you've been, asked a lot about how's the pandemic affected whatever, but now we're, kind of in that weird, like, are we post-pandemic, are we not kind of moment, but as we're kind of exiting, quote unquote, the pandemic, I mean, how are you feeling about that as kind of almost the masters of social video games right now?
I mean, we're trying to capture the same thing we've always done, which is just make a delightful experience for people when they're together. And, that has taken on different forms since the pandemic, since remote work, since, stay-at-home orders, all that kind of stuff. But we still just have that core philosophy of trying to make a fun social party game that people can have fun doing. And so it hasn't really changed, I think, how we build our games. If anything, we've kind of paid more attention to the fact that people are remote, and we have audience modes and we have other kinds of interactivity. We have accessibility modes of the game, and so a lot of those things have just helped that play pattern depending on where you're at. But the industry as a whole, it's unique and different and challenging time. Everybody's stuck at home. Everybody played a ton of video games. The world opened up again, and everybody's playing less video games. So, kind of where we're at in that curve, it seems like everything's kind of flattening out a bit right now. But then there's other pressures in the world too that make discretionary income a little tricky. The nice thing we hope is, our games aren't AAA titles. They don't sell for $60, and so the price sensitivity is a little lower. Hopefully, holidays come around, people want to get a new pack and play with their family and friends.
Yeah. It's like kind of like the perfect, Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Exactly.
gathering.
Yeah, as you would expect, those are very popular times for our games. Yeah.
Makes sense. So we're on, the dawn of Party Pack 10. What's next for Jackbox after this?
Well, we don't really have anything to announce. It's safe to say we will still be making games like we make now. But as Evan mentioned, we're kind of quite a bit larger than we were when we made the first Party Pack, and we're trying to do more than just an annual Party Pack. So, internally, we don't have anything we can really talk about, but we're looking at other things as well.
Well, I have nothing else to add. If there's anything you wanted to add about PAX or anything about Jackbox that you want our audience to know.
PAX to me is always just one of the highlights of the year, especially PAX West, because this is when we, timing-wise, get to show off the games we've been working on all year in front of an audience really for the first time, and it's just such a joy to see what people think and their surprise, and we often get to see our games played by some very funny people, so I always love it. I'm grateful that an event like this exists where we could do that every year.
Yeah. It's just great to meet our fans, so we'd love to have them stop by our booth, come play the games, come to the panel, and watch those very funny people play our games. But PAX is great in that way. We get to actually see the people that buy our games and love our games and talk with them. So.
Yeah, that's it. It's just exactly to echo everything that's been said, just to go face to face with people and have them in the biggest or smallest way say, we love what you do, and because of those people, we get to keep making games. So.
Right, exactly.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and cut off the feed there.